right, guys, we're here at the Blue Ridge Cotton Company. We're here for the Adams Retailer Spotlight with Josh and Gary.
We met Josh and Gary a couple of years ago, actually on Instagram, which is so fun to see. And because we have evolved into great friends with them, and we had the opportunity this spring to come up and physically come to their location. It's about an hour and a half outside of Atlanta, and they're in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And it is the cutest.
It is so gorgeous.
It is such a cute place.
Let's go check it out.
Let's go check it out.
Okay.
Hey everybody, DJ and I with Adams and Company. We drove up to Blue Ridge Cotton Company, and we are here with the owners, Josh and Gary, and they've actually
in Georgia,
yes, and they've actually become dear friends of ours over the last couple of years. We met on Instagram, of all things. Go figure, right? And so we are so excited to be here doing a retailer spotlight. They carry the Adams and Company brand, and we wanted to come here and personally tell them thank you and see their amazing store. So we have a few questions for you guys.
We knew that it was an amazing store before we got here. But just driving in, the whole town is amazing. This is gorgeous.
Opening up to the main street and seeing all the little shops, it was so quaint, and we were all like, oh, it's so cute. It's so cute everywhere we turned. It's so adorable.
Yeah, but it's perfect in here with the brick. It looked like it's almost a historical building. I was surprised when you said it was just barely built.
So we would love to know how you guys got started with Blue Ridge Company and Gather. They actually have another store next door called Gather, and it's beautiful.
Actually, Blue Ridge Cotton Company has been 6 years this month.
That is so awesome.
6 years.
And the Gather
is 2.
2 years.
2 years. Okay, so you've been kind of expanding. Are you planning on taking over the whole block?
The whole town.
For now.
The whole town.
Okay. We do have another location though in Blairsville, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes.
Did you grow up? Is this home, or you've been here for 6 years, or how does this all happen to come in?
Well, we started with a cabin here 8 years ago, and we just came up on the weekends, and was the typical tourist and relaxing. We lived in Atlanta. We were on a cruise actually, and walked out of a store and thought we should open a store in Blue Ridge. Yeah, so everything kind of worked out, and 6 years later we have Blue Ridge Cotton Company.
And one thing that we love so much about these guys, and what I was so attracted to, is when I first discovered you on Instagram, we started kind of talking a little bit back and forth, is how much you guys do for the public, how much you give back. And it's huge for these guys, and it's so inspiring to see how much you guys give back. And we would love to know a little bit more about why do you do that, and what's your story with that?
Well, the charity giving for us is the heart of business. We feel very strongly about that connection to the community. I guess we're now in our 4th year, 1% for charity. It came from a great loss. And we realized we lost our son in an accident. And
18 years old, too.
He was 18 years old. And he was a light in this world. He had so much goodness in his heart. And we knew that there had to be something that we continued forward for him and with him. And the 1% for Charity program came out of that. So across the board, all of our stores, every purchase that's made in any of our stores, 1% of that goes to a local charity. And we want to look at, we're big animal people. So there's a lot of rescue on that list and animal related charities. But we also want to make sure that we're hitting a lot of different areas. We want people to be fed. We want, we've got a great program here called Snack in a Backpack, where backpacks go home on Fridays filled with food for some of our kids in need. And doing amazing things. They are just doing amazing things for kids here. Feed Fannin. There's a tremendous volunteer spirit here in Blue Ridge and in this area. People, both local folks, and then also our part-time residents, really get involved with a lot of our charities. So we're very humbled and grateful to be part of that process.
So you know so many of your customers too that come in, they're probably on a first name basis where, it is a smaller town, but then you also have a lot of tourism too.
We do. Yeah.
And they probably come in and instantly recognize there's this amazing little sign out front that's talking about the charity, and it just instantly makes you feel good as you're walking in, oh my word, these guys are all about giving back.
Well, and it changed everything.
Yeah.
As far as business, but as far as life. We had a customer one day that said that she appreciated that program, and we said, it's important to us, and it makes, it feels good in our hearts. And I said, it changed us. It changed us. And she looked at me with a little tear in her eye, and she said, but it changed all of us.
You've told us a little bit about your son, and that's actually that was the original connection I know between you and
Yeah,
Devin.
because it was pretty. I mean, it hadn't been terribly long. It was, and I think it was right around the anniversary of that happening when we first met. Yeah. And you were doing this amazing charity. It was Michael's red truck.
Yep.
Little red truck.
Michael's
Is that
big
red truck? Sorry, wrong one. Michael's big red truck.
That's right.
He made a huge impact and still is today.
Well, Michael loved animals. He had a spirit for animals, and animals loved him back. And we, after Michael died in a motorcycle accident, and he was traveling, he had left work and he was traveling home and hit black ice on the interstate, and was never, he hit a guardrail, and he was never responsive after that. And as a side note, I would want your viewers to know that it's the power of organ donation. Michael was an organ donor. In his short life, he had said to us and said to many people that he would be an organ donor if anything ever happened.
So that was something near and dear to him.
So we know that there's, at least 5 people that are alive with his major organs, not to mention all the other great parts of organ donation. So we encourage people now. We say, please mark that box, please, because
that'll change.
It gives you
that gives me a new perspective on
a sense. I'll tell you another story about organ donation connected here to the store. We sell a shirt that says "Thankful," and it's been a great shirt. Yeah,
I noticed it.
It's been a great shirt, and we've had so many people report back to us things that have happened when they wear that shirt.
In the grocery store lines,
people
and
knew
airport.
Because they have this word on their shirt, and
so we had a customer came up to the counter, and she was almost, desperate to buy the shirt. And I said, well, she said, I have to buy this shirt. And I said, of course, and I said that to her about that there's, be warned that this shirt is pretty powerful, that you're going to, she goes, oh, I already know what thankfulness is. I know the power of that. And she pointed across the store to this gentleman, probably 6'8", big guy. And she said, he was going to die. 6 months ago, he had a liver transplant at the very last part of what was going to be his life, and he's alive. And so we had this great moment, because we haven't gotten to meet any of the families yet, but it was almost a surrogate moment where we got to go.
You got to see
and to be present with this gentleman. And it was very interesting too, because he said, I struggle with guilt.
Right.
I struggle with the loss that somebody else had.
Oh,
that's keeping him alive.
And I looked at him in the eyes, and I said, I want you to put that away forever. Because from this side, it gives us hope. It gives our life, that meaning of continuation, the going on.
It affects all of us.
And he just kind of melted a little bit, because someone had finally said to him, it's okay. And that's why too, that kind of goes back to that we feel that the business is so much bigger than just selling items. And
love that.
And I think that's one of the things we're so attracted to, is because that just goes without saying with you. We just know that. It takes seconds, even looking on your social media. Like, you instantly glance and you're like, these guys are all about that. It's so much bigger than selling stuff.
Well, and I think the initial connection we had with Adams and Company was that idea of bereavement and what does sorrow look like. And for a lot of people, that's a hard thing. And a lot of companies, it's a hard thing. But you put it forward in your catalog, in what you sell. And I think that was very powerful for us, because we needed somebody to be saying the things that our hearts were saying.
It's okay.
That's right.
And
what our customers were also needing to hear. And we have a whole section now of those type of things. And we've had some amazing experiences with folks, and sharing space with them in their grief. And and some very fresh, and some
Yeah.
20 years later.
Do you keep
of
the
kind of
tissues? Do you have a
we
tissues
do,
in that
absolutely.
section?
For all of us.
Yes,
For all of us.
exactly.
And customers have actually said thank you for having that section.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, that's
you don't see that a
wonderful.
lot, and it's needed.
Well, and going back to the spirit of this community in Blue Ridge,
Yeah.
When that happened to us, and we were, at such a lowly place, we would get to the store and there'd be flowers on the doorstep, or we would be open and someone would walk in and they had no words for us at that point, but they would hug our necks, and that meant everything to us. And that's, being in a small town community that values that was pretty important.
Yeah.
And to
Huge.
go from Michael being the organ donor and to experience that, and then when you had your customer come in and was the recipient, for you to kind of witness and experience both sides, that feels like there's one thing to read about something, another to experience it from one side, yet another to get the full circle. I mean, what you're doing here is palatably
Powerful.
noticeable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, this is what you guys do to us.
Yeah.
They're really good at bringing up emotions. That
That's
is
their
what you will
strong
experience
point.
at Blue Ridge.
Well, and I think it comes down to the idea of grace in everything that we do, to our customers that come in, to our community, to our vendors, to our, our families. That idea of being on the giving side of grace is pretty powerful. We have that opportunity. We all have that opportunity. And that's how the world changes a little bit. That's how it shifts towards the light and shifts towards love.
When we're even walking in here, I can feel it in my heart. I think I said it, I'm like, I feel my heart growing. Just, there's something about the energy that you guys bring. And another thing that you have is this beautiful dog, Watson, who is your store.
Absolutely.
Is he
Your
your
mascot.
mascot? Do you call him your mascot, or is he the guard? Or what's his
No, he's actually, when we talk about the idea of social media, he's the star of our social
He
media.
is the star
We
of
always
the
laugh
show.
because if we put his picture in a social media post, then it's going to get some attention. Well, he's awfully darn cute.
He is so cute.
Watson is a rescue. He's a rescue from a rescue here in Blue Ridge called Tri-State Pet Rescue. They were actually, or they are, the recipients of Michael's Big Red Truck. And
wow.
they,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do an amazing, for years, they've done an amazing job moving dogs from kill shelters to no-kill rescues. They adopt locally, but they also transport to many, many partner rescues across the eastern United States. So Michael's Big Red Truck is that transport vehicle for that. So when it was approximately 3.5 months after Michael died that the truck was delivered, we asked people in the time in between to join us and to raise money to buy that truck. And we thought maybe it'll take a year, maybe it'll take 2 years. We knew how much we needed to buy a truck, and in the course of about 2 months, we had $45,000 in hand ready to purchase the truck with cash. So it went on the road almost immediately. I think I'd have to get official numbers, but I think we're over 6,000 dogs that have been moved with the truck. It's just goodness rolling down the road at all times. So.
That's what these guys are. It's pure goodness. So thankful and grateful that you let us come up and take over your location.
Yes. Thank you for being
pulling
here.
cameras in here, and we're just thrilled to be here. And thanks for carrying the Adams and Company line.
Oh, that's,
Being an
Give us our
an Adams retailer.
Hashtag Adams retailer.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you, because it's people like you that are allowing us to be able to do this, and to be able to go and say thank you in person and get to see where our product, our designs end up. And it's fun to know the story behind it, because I love thinking that these things are going to places that mean something to somebody. It's not just like you said, it's not selling stuff. There's meaning behind it. And so it's fun to see where it all ends up. And the store's amazing.
Well,
Thank you.
thanks for being here. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
I'll hug your neck too. We're in Georgia. We hug necks around.